WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Hello, hello, hello. It's Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock, so it must be the Community Bell Show. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely, lovely, lovely Monday afternoon in the metropolitan Detroit area. Isn't it a gorgeous day? Just one of those days where you just say, thank you, Lord, for letting me be alive to see this. And we are truly blessed to be able to see this. I must say that I've been to more than my share of funerals over the last few weeks, and so every day the Lord gives us is a blessed day. So we need to enjoy it and make the most of it. Make the most of it by helping anybody we possibly can. That's the blessing that God has given us to be able to help others, and so we must take advantage of that and do what we can. Just a few moments before I introduce our guests, a couple of things. This past Saturday, I had the honor, pleasure of attending a homegoing celebration for a young man, a very young man, younger than my children. His name is Elliot Banks. Elliot worked with his mom in her business, Bankable. Bankable is Sharon Banks' business, and she is a PR person and extraordinaire, and held a wonderful celebration of life for her son who passed this past July at obviously a very young age from cancer. But the interesting part is it was held at the Aretha. It was on stage. Lots of the seating was on stage. There were people in the audience, and it was really a very uplifting. It was a celebration. Is what I think Sharon wanted it to be, and it turned out to be just that. And so I was just blessed to be able to be there and to celebrate with the family the life of this wonderful young man. But it was very neat that it was at the Aretha, and you were able to see boats passing by and people passing by in their boats waving. And the music was performed by the wonderful Kimmy Horn, who's an artist that has her own festival in Southfield every year, but she's a fantastic singer. And so that was just a very moving afternoon, and I just enjoyed being with the family and celebrating the life of Elliot Banks. He was a fine young man. Secondly, um, as you all know, coming up tomorrow night, the presidential debate between the former president, 45, and the current vice president, the Honorable Kamala Harris, who is vice president of the United States. Um, watch it. I think you all should watch it. You need to see and hear what she has to say, and you also need to see and hear what 45 has to say. And you need to see how they both act on stage around each other. I understand that they've never been in the same room together. Isn't that interesting? And probably because he would not do the normal transition of power when he left office. So the normal transition that would take place between the current president and vice president and the former or outgoing president and vice president didn't take place because 45 refused to act like a civilized person and do what he knew was best and what he knew was right, but would not do it, just acting like what I call a petulant child. But in any case, the debate takes place tomorrow night. I want everybody to take a look at that, watch it, take notes, but watch and see what your eyes will behold in this debate that will take place tomorrow night. It will be interesting, I'm sure. And then the next thing I want to talk about is, we've got coming up New Prospect Baptist Church 100th anniversary. New Prospect Missionary Baptist Church 100th anniversary celebration will be in October. So everybody get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. It's going to be a wonderful celebration. So I'll continue to remind you of that as we go along, but I just wanted to bring those few things up because they're important to all of us. And then the last one that I'm going to bring up is probably the saddest one of all, and that is the young man who felt he had to kill other people in Georgia this past week. Heartbreaking, simply heartbreaking for a 14-year-old to think that the only way for him to, I don't know what reason there was. I just don't know what reason one could have for killing your classmates and your teachers. But clearly this young man needs prayer, and we need to pray for him. Don't know him, but we need to pray for him. But most importantly, pray for those young people who were killed and the teachers who were killed and the young people who were traumatized by that. Some of these young people will never get over that. There was one young lady who said, I'm not going back to school, told her mother she wasn't going back because she unfortunately saw a dead body and saw another one of her classmates shot in the leg. I understand that. I can't imagine what these young people go through when they're in these traumatic situations. At that age, I just can't imagine. So pray for them. Keep them in your prayers. Keep their families in your prayers, and pray that they'll be able to help these young people uh, get through this. It's simply horrible. And how anyone could think that it's okay for a 14-year-old to have a gun. How could anyone possibly think that? And how is it okay for a 14-year-old to have a gun uh, without having previously haven't been licensed? And I just don't understand. And for those people who say that everybody ought to be able to have a gun, you have lost your mind. I'm just saying, you have lost your mind. Should not be. Should not be. We need responsible gun laws. I don't say that you should not have one. I simply say that we need responsible gun laws. Okay, I won't be on my soapbox anymore this afternoon, but I had to say that because my heart just goes out to those young people who had to live through that horrific situation. Just prayers for them and their family that can help them try to get through this. Now, our guest today, it's second Monday. So, what is it? Real Estate Monday. And who is our guest? Our buddy Ken Scott. Hi, Ken. How are you?
Hi, Edna. How are you? Thank
I
you
am
for
good.
inviting.
I am good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for again being on to talk about how people can own their home and all the services that are out there to help them own their own home. And I was really pleased to hear our uh, new president, who will be Kamala Harris, talk
Mhm.
about the fact that she believes home ownership is so important and the kinds of things she wants to do to help people be able to own their home. I think it's wonderful. And the small business piece to help small businesses be able to do more and get more and be able to sustain themselves. So I'm just excited that we're going to have a president that's thinking of those things, and we're gonna do great things in the next couple of months. And we're glad we're going to have a woman president to help us do those things. Okay, Ken, what's going on in the real estate world?
Well, first and foremost, I want to give my condolences and my prayers to the young man that lost his life, as well as just thinking about the children in Atlanta in
Yes.
Georgia, or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
And I don't understand why we have to endure that year after year. And they said it was about 45 times that it's occurred this year.
So far,
So,
yes, and we still
so
have
far.
a few months left.
And hopefully that won't occur. But at the same time, the
Yeah.
propensity to do it. So
Mhm.
just praying for all those concerned.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As it relates to the vice president.
And before you leave that, I
Go ahead.
just wanted to say this. My grandchildren go through active shooter training. What kind of world is this for kids in schools? And it's across the nation, everywhere. These young people in class have to go through active shooter training that tells them what to do if that situation occurs. It's
Yeah,
just
that's sad.
beyond me. It's beyond me.
Yeah, that's
And
sad.
clearly, it's necessary because you've got these young people still, these people killing people and coming into
Exactly.
schools killing them.
Exactly.
I just had to say that because that really that bothers me.
Yeah. And like you stated, that the debate is tomorrow night.
Yes.
I am one of the hosts of the One Michigan functions that's occurring tomorrow night at Soul on Ice.
Okay. My
Uh,
place.
we're inviting everyone to come out and view the debate. Um, I am praying for good things to happen tomorrow night
Yes. Yes.
because I was devastated before, but
But you won't be this time.
I'm praying that I will not.
Oh, you won't be. I'm just saying you won't be.
Okay.
You won't be
All
because
right.
I'm attending a
And
debate party also that the supermajority is putting on, and the supermajority is a group of women from around
yeah.
the country, and ours is on Pell tomorrow night. So there's
Oh,
lots of them. So
excellent. Yeah,
yes.
there are a lot of debate
Mhm,
watch parties tomorrow night
mhm.
in numerous locations, but at the same time, it's important that we all watch it we all get motivated and mobilized and engaged to the point where we can bring this one home.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. That's the key. We got to bring
yeah,
it home.
especially in our community. Racism and classism has permeated our community, but one of the isms that we haven't addressed is misogynism.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why Hillary didn't get elected.
Absolutely.
Men and women
Absolutely.
didn't want a woman president.
Yes, you're
So
absolutely
I
right.
hope, given the
Mhm.
times with the abortion issue on the minds of
On
people,
the ballot.
as well
Mhm.
as the shootings being on the minds of people, and just the overall economy as it affects the population, the families, and what have you, I hope that the women and the men come and vote for
On the
Kamala
ballot.
Harris, as
Mhm.
well as the shoot and the men. Oh, there's an echo, but hopefully we all come out and vote for this lady who is the forward thinking, probably one of the most forward thinking individuals that has had a forward thinking platform that I've ever seen.
And not only that, the most qualified person we've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
in ages. She is
yeah,
she
yeah.
is so qualified.
She is so qualified,
So
and
she's smart. And I hear these advertisements about this she being dumb and not qualified.
yeah,
They are scared to death of her because she is
I tune that
qualified.
out. I have
Yeah,
a
have to throw it
tendency to
out.
tune that stuff out.
Yes,
But what we cannot do is sit at home.
absolutely.
Okay. I think that was part of the problem with Hillary,
Hmm.
but also that's been the problem with a lot of our elections, whether they were um, uh, statewide, nationwide, whatever the
Well,
case may be. We
well,
stayed at home at the wrong time.
look at this primary we just had in August. 15% of the people in Detroit voted.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
15.4. I'm sorry.
Okay.
15.4. That's
Yeah.
shameful.
Yeah, it is. And we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say,
Yes.
do we
Yes.
actually want a better community than the one that we've had so far? Do we want a safer community? Do we want an uplifting community? Do we want the small businesses to thrive in our respective communities without going elsewhere to get the goods and services that we need? Do we want our children to have a better education? Do we want to have better roads, infrastructure? Do we want to have better jobs? And if that's the case in all those circumstances, then your butt needed to be at the voting booth filling out that oval shaped dot.
Absolutely. And get that little sticker that said, I voted.
And you know what? I
Yeah,
want to tell you something. I wear that with a badge of honor.
that's right.
I
That's right.
never
I
go to
wear
early.
mine.
I never go to early voting, although I really
I don't
promote
either.
it.
Nope. I
I'd
go to
rather
the
go there
polls.
the day of the
Yes.
election itself and put my stamp of approval on the candidate that I'm addressing and
Absolutely.
want to be in that office. So,
Because people don't know how important their vote is. When the
absolutely.
first time I ever ran for an elective office was the Detroit Board of Education.
Hmm.
I won by 47 votes.
Wow. Wow.
47 votes.
Now, was that at that time, was that a high turnout or a medium turnout, low turnout? What?
To be very honest, I don't know.
Yeah,
But what I
because
do know is I
I
won
would
by 47 votes. I
exactly.
remember that
I
number.
know you. I know you remember that one.
I remember that number. I will remember that number forever.
Oh
For
yeah, if you've ever
and
run
my
for
opponent
office,
asked for a recount, and I don't blame her. If it were me, I would have asked for a
absolutely.
recount also.
Yeah.
But and then I picked up 2 extra votes. I got 49 votes.
Okay. I mean,
But
if you've ever run for office, you've won and retired.
mhm,
I've run for 2 offices and didn't do as well. But at the same time, one of the best things that I've ever experienced is a loss.
mm,
A loss has a chance for you to do some introspection, as
yes,
well as just some overall understanding of the process.
Yes.
And the one thing that's really crazy about our situation now is when we were growing up, we had civics classes.
Yes.
These kids and all these adults out here
Don't have a
have
clue.
been deprived of the civics class.
They don't have a clue.
So-
and when we were growing up, we had voting machines in the high schools.
Exactly. Well,
And we
I still have it at my elementary school.
Okay.
But see, this is the crazy thing about that is they always assume that when something doesn't get done, a platform issue or proposal or law doesn't get written and what have you, it's the president's fault.
I know. Not so.
You're not
Because they don't understand.
You're not understanding the legislative process and how it gets to the desk of the president.
Yes.
In the stages and the negotiations and the bargaining that has to happen prior to it becoming a law.
Yes.
Just a bill, just a bill.
Mhm.
Then it becomes a law.
I'm just a bill. I'm only a bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bill.
And for the
They
life
don't know
of
that,
me,
sir.
for the life of me, I can't understand why we don't play that more.
Yes, you know what? We may have to find that and play that a little bit during election time because that's it. They don't understand. They don't understand. And that's
you just think Biden can write off all these student loans.
Yeah.
All this inflation.
Uh-huh.
All these infrastructure issues.
Yes.
And,
people don't understand. I was in a place where there were a lot of folks this last week, and these two people were talking, and this one woman said, Obama was in office 8 years. He didn't give us anything. And then she said, Trump gave us $1,200. They don't understand Trump didn't give them anything. They really believe what he gave. It's amazing.
That tells you how important those civics classes would be.
Yes.
That tells you how important they would be and how much impact they have on our lives.
Yes.
And with this crazy proposal of Project 2025.
And I was just going to say Project 2025.
If you're not aware of the civics, then you certainly are not going to understand Project 2025.
Yeah.
And the importance of it
not
being used for this crazy president that we had a while back.
45. I just called him 45. I don't know his name. 45.
I call him something else. It's
I know. We won't do that today.
Yeah, we won't do that today.
We won't.
Anyway, you have to understand that you have to do your part by getting out and voting. But you have to be engaged in the process. You have to be knowledgeable of the process. You have to mobilize the individuals that are in your home and outside your home to get out and vote for things that they want to have or need to have.
Yes.
Like someone brought up this situation last night about the education department being abolished.
Yes, that's Project 2025. Okay. Yes.
I mean, understand this. For a long time, we weren't allowed to read, let alone write.
That's right.
Okay. Now you're going to take that away from us in the 21st century?
It's scary.
And you're going to tell us how we should live, how we should utilize our bodies and what have you, or not utilize our bodies?
It's absolutely amazing. And go back to our little song, just a bill, I'm only a bill.
Yeah.
But if you think about that song and think about Project 2025, that song goes out the window of Project 2025.
Absolutely.
Because that means that only one person can do everything.
Exactly. And not to mention that Supreme Court that we have.
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay. I mean, but all of that goes hand in hand.
Their wives. We're not going to talk about them and their wives.
One of the things that I hope she brings up tomorrow night is the fact that this idiot is immune to the laws of the country by the 6 justices that he has in the Supreme Court.
Well,
none of them voted against that.
Not completely immune. Not completely. He's immune for things that had to do with his job as president, but some of that stuff had nothing to do with his job as president.
But
Like
see,
like the
that's where the ambiguity comes in,
like
because
the money that he's
how do you how are they going to determine that? If that gets back to the Supreme Court, are they going to say that he has actual immunity to anything that was done personally as well as when he was president?
see. I don't think I pray that they won't throw the personal in, because that the stuff that he was convicted of 34 counts was personal. That had nothing to do with him
Yeah,
being
but
president.
see, this is the thing with Project 2025,
Mm-hmm.
the Heritage Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
all those evangelical Christians
Oh,
that have followed
those
him
are the
over the
ones that
years.
break my heart.
Okay,
Those people
all of
who are
those
Christians,
entities,
who say it's
all of those
okay for
entities,
an adulterer and a liar and a thief and all of those other things. It's okay for him to do what he's doing, and
all of
we
those
don't
have
support him
positioned
anyway.
him to be in that situation.
Uh-huh.
Not to mention, you think about him being the person who is the messenger,
Yes.
but he didn't create the message.
Hmm.
So we have a even more profound situation going on
Yes.
in half of America,
Yes.
almost
Scary.
half of America, where they want to take us back to slavery days and Jim Crow and whatever the case may be.
All of that. And
All those
between
things play a
him
role.
and his vice presidential candidate, that young man is real scary.
Absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
he is really, really scary.
And,
And the word that Governor Walz gave them is weird,
mhm,
weird to the 10th degree.
right.
Is what he is.
Well, let me also bring it back to real estate.
Yes.
In 2004, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, who I wasn't even knowledgeable at the time, in 2004, I was president of the Detroit Association of Realtors.
Uh-huh.
The Sheba report, I can't remember how many years old it is Sheba report stands for the state of housing in Black America.
Okay.
It is put out by the National Association of Real Estate Brokers of NARAB, who I was president of one of their local boards, the Greater Detroit Realtors Association. In 2004, Blacks had achieved the highest percentage of home ownership at 50.1%. Now, across the nation, it's somewhere hovering around 40%.
Wow. Dropped
So,
10% in 10 years.
exactly. So, the foreclosure crisis started happening around 2006, didn't raise
And
its
then
head.
fell
Uh,
apart completely in 2008 and 9.
no, it got deeper around that
Yeah.
time, but we didn't get out of it until about 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about 7 to 8 years where we weren't allowed to negotiate modified home loan, to get out of that foreclosure crisis. We weren't allowed to retain home ownership. So that's where the bulk of that 10% just evaporated. Now we have a situation now where the city of Detroit has $25,000 down payment assistance program. You have to be a resident of the city or been foreclosed on a property due to taxes from 2010 to 2016. With that being said, there's not a lot of people preparing themselves, or well, I'm gonna change that word, not preparing, but positioning themselves for home ownership
Mm-hmm.
because of our credit situation, our rental situation, our debt to income ratio situation, what have you. There should be more and more people applying. Last year, there were 450 first time home buyers that were made due to that money that came out of the ARPA funds. God, I can't think of the term now. The ARPA funds.
Yeah, we know the ARPA.
And out of that, those
American
individuals have
Rescue. The
American Rescue
American
Plan
Rescue Fund. Uh-huh.
Act. Those individuals started, I think, in March 30th. It was announced of last year. And then into the latter part of January of this year, the city of Detroit came with the second round in June 27th of this year, and it's still not enough people becoming first-time home buyers because I don't know,
They're not ready.
either the
They're not
word hasn't
ready.
gotten out or they're not positioning themselves to take advantage of it.
They're not in a position to.
And not only that, I can't put all the blame on that situation as opposed to the individuals not willing to sell their homes or not willing to sell their investment properties to primary homeowners.
So
So
that's
that's
the part that bothers
that's
me.
creating a lack of
Those big banks
inventory.
and all of those big companies that are buying these homes.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that's where I was going basically, was because when our Vice President, Kamala Harris, mentioned she was going to give that $25,000 down payment assistance, that's because those hedge fund managers from all those times that bought homes and properties in Detroit because they realized that Detroit was the place to buy property and hold on to it and subject ourselves to rentals and what have you. They came in here in droves because
Yes, they
they
did.
they not only came
From
around the
all over
country,
the world, not
but they
just
came
the
around the
country, from
world
around the world.
to buy properties in the city of
Mhm.
Detroit. And those people that wanted to be homeowners, that wanted to have a vested interest in the community that they lived in. They wanted to live in a community, make the community better, send their children to school, have businesses around the corner from their homes and what have you. All that was negated because those individuals that came in from corporate America or the hedge fund managers or whatever the case may be bought up blocks of homes
Yes.
because of the foreclosure crisis
Yep.
and because the city created land banks where they could take advantage of properties,
Hmm.
take them out of the hands of people that wanted a vested interest, in other words, homeowners, and subjected our people to renters.
Yep.
And we constantly buy into that by not wanting to be a renter, but being a homeowner, because only through home ownership do you build wealth.
That's right.
I sat on the porch of a good friend of mine last night. We are in the process of buying homes for the
Mhm.
express purpose of having homeowners as with a vested interest by the homes that we're renovating. A lot of blacks have gotten rental homes and constantly rented to people, throwing people out, or people not even observing the contract or the landlord agreement, property agreement that they have, and they've subjected themselves to being kicked out. And then being kicked out, they're messing up the property. Then the
Yes.
person has to go back in the property and clean it up or rehab it, and then they got to rent it out to somebody else. Why not sell your home to a primary homeowner, especially given the fact that that $25,000 is for first-time home buyers,
Yeah.
and it could solidify the neighborhood that it's presently in, or
Hmm.
a better word is to stabilize the
Stabilize
neighborhood
the entire community.
revitalization of the
That's right.
community.
But let me ask you a question. The $25,000 from the city of Detroit is, and when we have President Harris, the
Mhm.
other 25, another 25,000 that will come from the federal government, those two can go to the same, so they could get $50,000. Is that it?
No, I was thinking when I was listening very vehemently with
Hmm.
her going over that,
Hmm.
and what I was trying to figure out was she talking about the American Rescue Plan Act being elevated, or was she talking about restricting access to those homes to corporate America?
Well, yeah. So that'll
But
be
also
something we just,
also building new homes as well, because Detroit is home to a modular home plant now.
yes.
Okay,
And the homes are very nice. I was
and the homes that
met with a young man
they
who
are
worked with them
designing
and
and
built them.
building
They're
are
they're
excellent,
very nice.
but at the same time, there's not enough contiguous parcels in the city that can build neighborhoods again and have a vested interest in the community anymore.
Well, you
So
know what? So
there's
think
a
about
lot of
that.
landfill there.
Think about that. We got so many. See, I tend to disagree with that. There is so much vacant land on the east
No, I
side of
didn't say it
Detroit.
wasn't vacant land. I said it wasn't contiguous,
Well, no.
meaning that it's not side by side by
Yes,
side to
but
the
there
point.
is. There are blocks and blocks and blocks of vacant land on the east side of Detroit that could do exactly what you're talking about. As a
Well,
matter of
see,
fact, I would love to see more cul-de-sacs.
well,
And,
this is,
and those, but there's plenty of land out there that is
but
contiguous. I see it all the
but see,
time. I
this is the
drive up and
thing.
down those streets.
You see the you see the land,
Yeah.
but at the same time, a lot of it is accounted for,
Who
meaning
owns it
that
is
a
the
lot of
question.
people have bought it already
Uh-huh.
and are holding on to it for
I
future
know they're
use.
speculators. I know.
So that's not contiguous land. Contiguous land is when everything can be assembled to the point where you can create blocks of new homes again.
I understand that, but
And you also have to have some subsidy in order to stop those investors and uh, those
speculators.
corporate speculators
Yep.
from coming into the city and making those homes accessible to renters as opposed to homeowners.
I
And
agree. I agree. But let me
the
tell
perfect, the
you,
perfect. The,
wait a minute.
let me say
There
one thing.
are people, there is land that is good. Now, the fact that this parcel may be owned by one person and the parcel next to it is owned by somebody else, the land is vacant. The deal is, can we get them all together and say, okay, we want to buy this and build this community? That's
Actually,
the issue.
that's exactly what I was saying. But at the same time, what the speculators have done is bought that land in between and are not willing to sell it.
I know.
That's
But
that's the
you know
problem.
what? But the other piece of that is there are some laws that say if you don't improve that property within X number of with X number of times, then you don't have the right to refuse to sell it. There are some laws that
No,
say
but
that.
understand
We
this.
need to use
That
those.
that very law is unconstitutional, though.
Well, I'm going to be unconstitutional then.
That
I'm not
very
going
law is
to be
unconstitutional
unconstitutional when it
because
relates.
what you're
But
doing is
wait a minute, back it up. Eminent domain, though.
eminent domain is not
Yes,
existing
it does.
anymore.
Eminent domain can do that. You know why I remember that? I remember that so well. You remember, well, you may not remember, but Coleman Young was mayor, and there was some property
You
that
mean
had been
Cold Town?
condemned. And they said they were going to tear it down. They were going to sue. Coleman Young went in that night and tore it down and said, "Okay, it's gone now. I
Are
guess
you
I can
talking
do what
about
I
Pole
want to do."
Town?
Huh?
Are you talking about Pole Town?
No, well, Pole Town is one, but the other one is the property where the house, Pancake House, is on Jefferson.
Understand this. Years ago, or immediately after that, they ruled against eminent domain.
I know, but it was too late by then.
No. But now it is too late because the law has already been enacted and it's been enacted for as long.
Well, I'm going to break the law. Let them sue me. How
They
about
will.
that? No, I shouldn't say that. But at
And
some point in
Sandy
time,
and I would
you need to
Sandy and I would
disclose.
have to work out an agreement for me to host the show.
Okay, because I'd be in jail. Is that what you said? I'd have to do the show from
Now,
jail.
now you be away for a while.
I'd be taking a little vacation. I'd
Yeah,
be
you
on
be taking a
vacation for a while.
on unwilling vacation.
But I just believe there are ways to help people understand that you need to do this.
Oh no,
I just know, I just
always
believe that
been
there are
it's
ways
always
to
been needed.
convince people that this is what we want to do for the good of our community. And you need to be a part of that.
Oh, it's
And here is
always
what
been
we're going to
needed.
give you the
And I can
opportunity.
actually
We're going to give you the opportunity to be a part of that.
Oh,
And this is what you're going to do.
understand this. In the next 45 minutes, I'll be discussing that very issue with some entities to rectify that situation.
Where
But
are
at
you?
the same,
I want to go. Where are you going to be? I'm gonna sneak in and listen, and then I'm going to tell them all. I'm going to break the law. Kids going to have to do my show
it's
because
not about breaking the law.
I'm going to break the law.
No, it's not about breaking the law.
Okay.
The law can be used to your benefit,
Absolutely. I
but you have
agree.
to be knowledgeable about it.
And there are ways to convince people that you need to do the right thing.
Okay, then I will talk to you off camera and everything soon after the show is over, before my half-hour meeting starts. Okay,
Uh,
and
and
we'll
I'm
work it
simply
out.
saying that even if I have to shame people into doing the right thing,
But you know what? This is the
put them
thing.
on blast. Put it out there.
I
See,
understand that,
people
but
don't know what you're saying. A lot of people don't know that, and you need to just put it out there and tell
but
people ABC company is doing this.
but this is the thing about shaming people. In black people, it's an attention span. It goes like that.
But as long as I get what I want, they can go like that.
No, no, no. You might be able to go for a time, but it's not going to stay in their mind for an extended period of time.
Well, then it's our job to make it stay in their mind.
No, what we
It's
need to
our job
do.
to talk to it enough that it will stay in their mind. Because
No,
we
what
just
we
can't
need to
say it
do.
at 1 minute and let it go and never talk about it again.
Yeah,
We have
see,
to talk about it consistently so that people understand it and it will stay in their minds.
and I will tell you something. I learned a long time ago that doesn't resonate with most people.
Yes, it does.
Wait, let me
I
say this.
learned that it
Let me
does. See,
say this.
we
What
learned two
does
different
resonate
things.
with people? What does resonate with people is a value proposition.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
That's what I'm talking about. Convince them that
Okay.
you need to
What can I
do
do
this,
for
and this
you?
is why.
But that's
What
not
do you really
shaming
want?
them, though.
What
That's
do you
not
really
shaming
want?
them. That's presenting value.
What do you really want? This is what I can do. Let's talk about what this can do for
No, no,
you.
no. I would change that word. You said, what do you really want?
And what do you need? And how can this be good for both of us?
What would you prefer? Would
Okay.
you prefer
I
staying
can accept that.
in this state of mind,
Hmm.
or a state of existence, or this one?
Hmm. I can accept that.
Which one is more valuable to our community, our family, ourselves? And which one can be used in order to uplift our community, stabilize our communities, transform our communities?
I can accept that.
Okay. And that's not always the
As long
same.
as I get what I
That's
want.
that's not always the same topic. Trust me. We'll talk after this. But let me say this.
I
Let
do
me say
think
this.
that people have to be presented with different scenarios.
Okay. Well, let
They
me
have
say
to be
this.
presented with information that says, if you do this, then this will happen. And if you don't do this, this is what will happen. I mean, I'm because I'm older though. I'm far beyond trying to say, do this cause. I'm at the point where saying you do this because you're supposed to do it, and if you don't do it, this is what's going to happen. Now, do you want that to happen to you? No, I don't. Well, let's
Or
work
your
this out.
family or your community. But understand
Let's
this.
work this out.
But let me say this. That same mindset, that same language has been used in communities that have blight in them now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize that, and this was before I even got here, they had the riots in 1967?
Yeah, I was here. I know it well. I was here.
But this is my point. The riots happened in numerous spots around the city, specifically in the center core of our city in 1967. Do you realize that 57 years later, that same community looks the same way?
Absolutely.
57 years.
Because the
Understand
investment
that.
was not made in that community.
That's 2 generations.
The investment was not made in that
No.
community.
Understand this. Think about this. And when they do the polling and they do the assessment of how many people drive up and down the roads for billboards and everything, they figure out how much traffic has gone across the city and gone down that road
Yep.
for whatever length of time. 57 years. People have passed by that, living in their community, going to work, going to school, going to elsewhere, and 57 years it still exists. And the roads have gotten bad. The infrastructure has gotten archaic and bad. The buildings have crumbled. They're no longer habitable or usable.
You're not telling me anything I don't know.
No. What I'm saying is there was ample time for our community.
But was there
And
ample
hold
money?
on. Listen to me. Listen to our people to do something with that property in that community. And each and every day we pass by it saying, oh, ain't nothing changed. It still look the same.
But was there ample
what
financing
have
to
we
do
done?
it?
What
There
have we
was
done?
ample financing to do it and the will to do it. You know, you've got to have
Both are
somebody.
absent.
You've got to
Both
have
are
the
absent.
will to do it.
Both are absent, though.
That's what I'm saying. The will and the financing were not there.
No.
Number one, financing. Number two, will.
Oh, I can tell you the financing could have been there.
No, but it
It
wasn't.
was the
It
will.
could have been,
The
but it wasn't.
will that the
But if you don't have the will, the
is,
financing doesn't make any difference. If you don't have the will to do it.
that's my point. That's why 57 years later, it still looks the same.
Yes.
It still looks the same.
And
Hold on.
what are you getting to on that? I'm trying to figure that out. Come on, tell me what you're getting to. It's still there. So now what?
Let me use this. We always say we want better homes, better schools,
I'm
better
not going to
roads,
blame the victim. I'm not going to let you blame the victim.
No. Hold on for a second. Hold on.
No.
It's not about the victim.
Well, what is
Because
it about?
those people that were able
Left.
to move out of that neighborhood
They
went
left.
to suburbs.
Mm-hmm. They left.
Instead of having that area rehabbed and rehabilitated and what have you, they left. And they left it like that. And nobody has picked up the baton and addressed those issues. Because otherwise, Detroit would still have somewhat of a population in that area.
But we know
during that time.
We know that. Now what? What's your suggestion?
What's my suggestion?
Uh-huh.
If you can develop downtown and midtown, and you can develop housing on the west side, the east, the far east side, the far west side, and keep in mind that
didn't I just say the will to do it and the money to do it? That's what this is all about.
You know what? I
build those communities.
I would disagree with you. The will and the money wasn't there because they didn't want it to be there.
Well, that's what I just said. That wasn't there.
They didn't want it to be there.
Isn't that
But
what
at the same time,
Isn't that what I said?
We got black developers in the city.
I know.
You and I know them.
I know. All I'm saying, but they weren't there. But they weren't there 20, 40 years ago, though.
Oh, yes, they were.
No,
yes,
they weren't. No.
Yes, they were.
Not to the degree they are now.
Oh, yes, they were.
No.
Yes, they were.
We got a conversation to continue.
Absolutely.
Because it's time to wrap up for the day. However, we're going to talk about this again because we've got lots of more conversation. I know we.
Well, let me say it this way.
Okay.
They didn't pick up the baton.
Okay.
Nobody picked up the baton.
Will in them that's the will. The baton is the will. You pick up. You want to do it.
It's a lot of variables in the will. It's a lot of variables in that baton.
Yes, there are.
Okay.
I love it. We're going to talk about this again.
We got to get around the real estate.
We didn't even talk real. We talk real estate.
That's real estate.
That's real estate. But what I want you to do though is go back to tomorrow night in Soul on Ice. Talk about Soul on Ice. We're going to wrap it up, but I want people to hear
Soul
this.
on Ice. We want to generate as much interest as possible because what we're trying to do.
I want to talk about why. Everybody knows why. I want you to tell me where is Soul on Ice and what time.
Oh, God. Soul on Ice is 8867 Livernois.
Just south.
It's a white building.
And it's just north of, come on now, just north of Joy Road. I'm sorry, just north of Joy Road.
It's
Just
one
north
of
of Dry
the
Road on the west side of the street.
exactly
It's
near the
just,
railroad track.
yeah, just north of Joy Road on Livernois. Soul on Ice, owned by Herb Sanders, is his lovely wife. They're
Absolutely.
great people. Go to Soul on Ice tomorrow night, folks, and listen to the debate and watch the debate with some good people.
Actually,
We gotta
go-
go because see you're making me run over my time, Ken, because you were
Go,
talking so much.
go,
You
go
were
to
li-
One Michigan and register for tomorrow night from 8 to 11.
Okay.
8
Have
to
a
11.
great week. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Have a great night.
Take care.
All right,
Neighborhood
bye-bye.
beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern to the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit. You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.